secret in 1998. People are now starting to say, well, hold on a minute. Let's look at what else this guy has said. And we're starting to see the cracks, starting to see some encouragement, some hope that this wall of oppression and secrecy would be breached fatally. At that very time, Sonia Poulton and the community press group headed by this former policeman, Dave Eden, are planning to do their damnedest to destroy me and what I do. Who benefits from that, Ms. Poulton? Who benefits from that, Mr. Eden? Who benefits is the very system you two claim to be challenging. Emphasis on the claim button. And in the last few weeks, I probably came as close as I've ever come to saying, all right, I'll leave you to it then. All the best. I'm going to live out my life quietly. Do what I want to do. Do some things for me for a change. So freaking tempting. Because I could do it, but I won't. Because I started a journey 25 years ago. And I'm bloody well going to finish it. And it will only end when I do. But I am sickened that people who claim to be fighting for justice, fighting for the oppressed, are so full of hatred, hostility, and the need for revenge that they would try to damage as best they can someone who has done more to alert the world to what's really going on than almost anyone else on the planet. And compared with their contribution, I've already done more to alert people to the truth of the world on so many levels than they, Eden, Poulton, the Poulton groupies, and all these other abusers will do if they live to be 1,000. But that's what you're dealing with. Frauds and fakes. And it will massively backfire. So, when you have been the biggest donator, massively so, to the People's Voice, when you had the idea to create it, when you gave 6-7 months full time to it and never took a cent for my trouble, then you end up being painted the villain. That is, if we needed it, still further confirmation that the world is bloody insane, bloody madhouse. Let me make through these notes. I wanted to cover everything. Yeah, I talk about banging the heads up as they come up. There's always someone. Well, that's gone on right to the end, because I came back home on March the 1st, as I said I would from the start. And my goodness me, it's a bloody good job I did, because DavidIcke.com and related operations were in a poor state due to neglect, not least on behalf of the webmaster, as was. So I've been working with a new web team to turn everything around, and it's just been fantastic. It's turned around really quickly, and we're going to go on doing it because it's being loved again. It's being cared for again. It's being focused on again. But I have been watching from a distance and having me two penneth here and there when I thought it was necessary. And a bookkeeper, a part-time bookkeeper, was appointed right at the start. A person I knew had great integrity and very diligent, very honest, outstanding. And then I heard that she'd been fired by Sean Adler. This was a few weeks ago now. And I pointed out that that wasn't acceptable and where you're going to go from here in terms of bookkeeping. I then received an email back, which was at the bottom, it had his name, Sean Adler, but had clearly not been written by him, was actually been written by his marriage partner, a guy called Sinclair. And since that partnership, Sinclair, who's from America, has been given more and more influence at the People's Voice, even appearing on Richie Allen's show. I don't know why, because the guy is absolutely clueless on the information that TPV was set up to communicate. And it was only going to end one way, with someone who had no idea about the media and no idea about the information that TPV is there to put out. It was only going to end one way. And I got this email, it was clearly written by this Sinclair bloke, saying that actually Sean Adler owned the company. It was his company. Well, it wasn't. He was a custodian, and that was known all along. He was only a director because the company had to be set up like that for reasons I've explained. He was custodian. So I got this, and it was that, basically, you're not having any say anymore. And at that point, clearly I had to point that out to people, which I did on my website, because I could see where it was going with this Sinclair bloke having so much influence. And I must say that I've known Sean Adler a long time, but I don't know the Sean Adler that I've seen in the last few weeks since that marriage happened. So I don't know. Maybe you can explain, but I'm not the only one that's seen it. So we come to this point, and I know as much as you do. I understand that he's put the TPB into liquidation, but only he can answer those questions. I'm from a distance now, and there has been lots of allegations that money was here, money was there, or whatever, and like it's the machine gun approach. I mean, when you've got a situation where I've been accused of using TPV to fund my cocaine habit, when I actually don't have a cocaine habit, and I have never written a single check for a single penny or moved any money out of the TPV bank account, even once. Never. Wasn't my area, wasn't my role. My role was content. But they fire these things at you. Another moronic man who needs psychiatric help said that I used the money to buy a house in Islington. Well, even with the donations that TPV got, you don't buy a house in Islington for that kind of money. It's madness. So there's this machine gun approach. But I'll say this. If anyone, including Putin, has any evidence that money went to where it shouldn't have gone, not innuendo, not I've heard, evidence, this is what they need to do. They need to take it to the police, and they need to seek the prosecution of the person involved. And no one will back them more than me if they produce that evidence and take it to the police. But instead, what's happening is that the need for revenge and the need for their hatred to be expressed means that they're just trying to focus it all on me. The guy who never took a penny and put thousands and thousands in to support it financially. Why? Well, I'm the best known person there publicly, so therefore, that's a motivation. Motivation for Sonia Poulton is that I called her out as a diva, and that you don't do that, I must destroy him. But are there any other reasons? Are there any other reasons to try to undermine and destroy the work of someone who is actually exposing, at the very cutting edge, exposing what's happening in the world at a time when so many people in power want me out of the way? Worth asking, I think. Let's just see if, I think we're nearly there now. No, that's it.